Kopitiam
Good afternoon, Terry. So good to have you here at Kopitiam Conversations, and I look forward to seeing what you have in store, because I think I'm pretty excited to see what you will bring to the World Vision table now that you are the vision of the CEO. All right. Now, you are a lawyer by profession. How did you come to be a part of World Vision?
Good afternoon, Winston. Good to see you. It's been a while, right?
It's been a while, yeah.
Since I last saw you. Yes,
Yep.
yes. So my journey with World Vision was kind of, in some ways, accidental, but but in some ways, maybe got sent. Many years ago, this is going back like to 2009, 2008. My husband and I had just read a book. We picked up a book at a bookshop called Best Times in Worst Times. Something is by Graham Irvin, and it was a book about World Vision. So, we thought, oh, this is an interesting organization, and it interested us. And, that kind of sparked something. But in 2009, after my mother-in-law passed away, and I was her primary caregiver, and both my sons had gone overseas to the US to study. Coincidentally, a friend who was working with World Vision said, World Vision International was starting up a shared service center. We're looking for somebody with legal, organizational background. Would you come in to help get it started? And And I thought, yep, I think I was going through an existential crisis to trying to figure out with work and business, like what is it all leading to, right? How can we find meaning in life? And I thought, well, if I work with World Vision, I might get some proximity to the work, this whole humanitarian kind of space. And so that's how it started.
All right. So how has your role changed from, I think not too long ago, you were the CEO of World Vision Malaysia Foundation, which of course tackled a lot more of the localized programs such as the Eat Right to Play Right program, and we will discuss about the Eat Right to Play Right program later. And of course, the local area development programs such as Tulid and Tatalaan, okay, to the role of where you're at now, all right, acting CEO, okay, for the whole of Malaysia, which of course takes on a more global perspective. So how has your role changed?
Well, so my journey with World Vision started in 2009. So I was with World Vision International. So this is not my first stint with World Vision. So I was with the global organization. We had a shared service center here. I was with them for 4 years. And after I left World Vision, I continued an engagement with them. So they would engage me on contract or whenever they needed some expertise or something from me. And then I also did so that kind of carried on in those years, in the intervening years. And in 2015 was when I started my role as CEO of the foundation. At that point in time, World Vision Malaysia had a foundation in which was the umbrella for all of their local projects. It was also at the time, World Vision Malaysia, just for the sake of the audience, World Vision Malaysia is primarily a fundraising company. So that's our main business, is fundraising. And we raise funds primarily for 14 countries outside of Malaysia.
Right.
But we also had questions asked of us. It's like, you raise funds for other people. What about your own country? You do what for other people. What about your own country? Yes, it always comes.
Yeah.
And so work started with World Vision then. And at that point, it was parked under the foundation. And the board at that point asked if I could come in and provide some leadership and kind of get that kind of kicked off. The work had already started, but kind of kicked off formally under the foundation. And that's how I got started there. The foundation has we've since collapsed both the foundation together with World Vision Malaysia. So the foundation no longer exists, but the work continues. So it was kind of almost a natural progression for me to get involved with senior management with World Vision. And when the previous CEO left, he had approached me to take over and manage the organization. So it's not something I'm totally unfamiliar with, but obviously from just a local perspective, of 40 staff, 30 over staff, now we have 100 staff I have to kind of oversee, and a lot more departments. The foundation, we were primarily a programmatic organization, so we just executed programs. We didn't have to worry too much about where the funds is coming from. But now, overseeing World Vision Malaysia, a lot of the responsibility is making sure we have money coming in for everything that we're committed to. So I think that's probably one of the largest, and the biggest change for me, just kind of that perspective.
So you have to look at the more fundraising role more than the programming role, so to speak, right?
Yeah, well, actually both, but yeah. So the responsibility on my shoulder is just a little heavier now.
Okay, and just maybe a little bit more about the local ADPs, the area development programs like Tulid and Tatalaan, and what stage are they at now, if I may ask?
Okay. Yep. So World Vision Malaysia, when we started our local programming, we decided to start in Sabah because we did a map of where the most vulnerable people were in Malaysia. And Sabah is actually the poorest state. I think Sabah and Kelantan might be the two poorest states. So we picked Sabah. Also primarily because we had partners there that we could, do some work with. Right. Tulid is in the, kind of the area of Keningau, in the constituency of Keningau, and then later we went to Tatalaan. We currently have about 1,000, slightly over 1,000 people in our program. We are called Community Development Program, smaller than the ones that have sponsored children in the other countries.
Right.
And then in Tatalaan, we have about 400 constituents or of our community members. We started Tulid in 2014 implementing. We have done our evaluation in 2020, and now we are going into our next phase. COVID changed things for us a little bit. Tatalaan we started in 2018 and then shortly after COVID. So we've had to really think about what we're doing and try to focus and streamline what we're doing. We can't do as much now, and we want to go a little bit deeper in the work that we do. So we mostly concentrate on nutrition, education, child protection, and livelihood. So these are the kind of main areas, and water and sanitation. These are the main areas that we focus on. It's both going very well. In Tulid, you might be familiar. We used to have children's clubs, that World Vision ran. And our goal with World Vision has always been that we are not the superheroes flying in and doing all the work. Our goal has always been to engage the community and then to empower them and for them to take over where possible. So we stay in a place for 10 to 15 years. So we're really pleased to report that in Tulid we have a couple of mothers now that have taken over one of the children's clubs, and she's doing really well. That for us is the big pat on the back, not when we're doing it, but when the community feels confident to take over and still know that we're there to support them. And that's been wonderful.
So basically you go by this principle of you go by this principle of not only giving them a fish but teaching them how to fish, right? Being able to continue the work even long after World Vision has came and gone, right?
Oh, yes. Because one of the things that we do is one of our pillars of World Vision is community development. And as I say, we develop by learning and listening to the community, finding out what they want, engaging them in that process. Okay, if you like to do this, what can we do together?
Right.
And if you think about it, Winston, it's rather unusual because we are engaging because we're used to engaging professionals, people who are skilled in some areas. So here we're engaging farmers, day workers, day wage workers, homemakers, who maybe they don't have a very high education. But we might be the first people to tell them, actually, you are more able than you think. You can decide what's good for your children. You can decide what's good for your family. And I find that empowerment, so stimulating, and so inspiring. Yeah, because I think everybody wants to feel like they can do something, right?
Right. Yeah. Wow. Very, very powerful way of working that you have here. It's always good to empower, the local. I don't know. I won't call it local employment. Local energy that you have. The people there with their skills and telling them, hey, look, you can actually do a lot more than what you think you can, and we are also here to help you, and we are also here to maybe give you the tools or give you whatever help that you may need to get it going, right?
You know, let me tell you this the story that just happened. This was during the floods, the recent floods in Sabah. One of our towns or communities in Tatalaan was flooded, and there was no very bad road access in. You know, in fact, up to today, the children are going to school by sampan. Can you beat that?
Yeah. Wow.
And you know, and there was no way in. And World Vision collaborated with a bunch of people, local people. We had 20 Land Rovers going in to deliver food aid. Now that was just, it was a lot of hard work for our staff as well and for the people that were involved. But that kind of collaboration, I think, is what we represent and what we like to continue to do, where we're doing things together and doing things together for the good of somebody else.
Amazing.
It was so exciting just to see one of the Land Rovers actually terbalik, you know, and then they had to, you know, turn it up, and it was nice for us to watch, but you know, it was hard work for them.
Yeah, I can imagine. But still, you get your drama as well, and then you know, seeing the victories from there, I think that's also very rewarding as well, right?
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
Turning the car over.
Our staff.
Continue going. Wow.
Yeah.
Now on the ground in Tulid and Tatalaan, how many staff do you have there?
We have about 20 staff there. Yeah.
20 staff that caters to both or
both, yes, to both. Yes. Or maybe 17 now. Yeah. They are in Suk. We rented a house in a place called Suk, which is not near but relatively in between the two places. We are closer to Tulid than we are to Tatalaan. Tatalaan is a 4-hour drive through muddy roads inside, so it's quite tough. So we have a house there, and some of our non-married staff will stay in the house, and then the married ones, they stay in the town of Suk close by.
All right. Okay. Wow, this is excellent stuff. I mean, to actually hear the progress of Tulid and Tatalaan, like I don't know, 4 years later, I think it's amazing, right? What World Vision has done there. Okay.
Oh yeah, okay, that's right. You were with us for a while too. Yes.
Oh yep. Yeah, for our listeners, I used to work in World Vision for a short while. All right. Okay. Now I think this one we may need to address because a lot of people know World Vision for the 30-hour famine. So, for our listeners who may be unaware of the work of World Vision other than the 30-hour famine, okay, which of course naturally gained a lot of traction amongst college and university students, and definitely a lot of media attention as well. Could you tell us about the work of World Vision? Like maybe the 3 pillars that you were mentioning about just now.
Sure. So World Vision is an international organization. So Malaysia is one of its affiliates, and we have our own board. Okay, so we're in about 100 countries now. Globally, we are 70 years. In Malaysia, we're 25 years, as you can see from my screen. So we've been in 70 years. So we're in about 100 countries, as I say. We do 3 things all over the world. We do 3 things. We do community development. And that is where we go into communities in different parts of the world, especially in developing countries, and we grow communities. So it's not about just putting in money in projects, but we're actually looking at growing community because we find that that's the most sustainable form of growth. And like I said, we work with the community. We decide, together what the community needs, and we do that. And the way we fund that is through child sponsorship. So many people, and many of your audience have probably heard of child sponsorship or seen the ads and stuff like that. Right. So we do it through child sponsorship. So you can sponsor a child, and the money actually goes. So for example, if you sponsor a child in Myanmar, the money goes into the child's community in Myanmar, not to the child himself, but to the community. And we find that if we build a community, you provide schools, you provide livelihood, you provide water, then the child has the best chance of thriving and doing well. So that's the model that started 70 years ago when our founder Bob Pierce went to Korea, and he saw a little girl, all these orphans, and he gave $5, and he pledged that he would find other people back when he went back to the US to pledge that. And that's kind of the start of the child sponsorship model. Right. And we found that model has really sustained many communities around the world. So that's one thing we do. Second thing we do is emergency relief. And the latest is that we're in Ukraine. So when the war started, we responded immediately together with partners. One of our important kind of strategy is that we always partner instead of doing things on our own. So already in the last couple of months, we have helped 130,000 families in Ukraine, and we have set up 4 centers in different refugee places, as well as started kind of like children centers, where children can be safe and they can be educated. So that's relief, and we respond in different parts of the world. And the last thing, of course, is advocacy. Advocacy is where we speak for those who cannot speak up. Yeah. So the 30-hour famine that you mentioned, Winston, that's one of our biggest advocacy campaign here in Malaysia, where we speak of poverty and hunger, and we educate, our Malaysians on that.
All right. And more recently, also were involved in the day of the 500 girls, was it? 1,000 girls?
1,000 girls, yes. 1,000 girls was our campaign. Yes, 1,000 girls was our campaign, as child sponsorship campaign. Right. So if you want to really impact a girl's life, it's going to come up again, I think. If you want to impact a girl's life, yes, you can sponsor a girl and follow through their life journey as well with them. We have actually a very interesting, talking about child sponsorship, we have a very interesting kind of twist, if you may, on child sponsorship. Right. I don't know if you ever sponsored a child when you were with us.
I'm still sponsoring a child.
Oh, fantastic. So you remember you chose a photograph and then you sponsored the child, right?
Yep.
Okay, now we have a program called Chosen, which is the other way around. So if I want to sponsor a child, they choose me. I give my photograph and the power goes to the child's hand.
Wow.
The power is with the child to choose.
Nice.
That's it. I mean, nothing changes. The program is the same. It's still child sponsorship. The money goes to the community, but we've turned the power around. And I don't know. I was so excited because one of the things, Vincent, I find with us who donate or with donors, right? Since we give, but when we give, we expect a lot as well, because we give and rightly so, right? So we give and we think that gives us the power to say what we want, what we feel like saying, or what we think is we should say. So it's always the power is in the donor's hand.
Right.
But I think Chosen reminds us that the power is really not in our hands, right? The important person is actually the child.
Correct. Yep.
And we've had so many stories where children feel so empowered and they feel like, wow, the choice is theirs. And that's just wonderful.
Yeah, especially when you really don't have, you come from a background that you may not always have a chance to say.
You don't make choices.
You don't make choices,
yes.
And now you're given a choice to, decide who is the one that is going to be backing you. And I think that's very interesting. It speaks a lot about, empowerment. And of course, if let's just say you're talking about the day of the 1,000 girls, then again, female empowerment, which of course, this is what this channel stands for as well.
Yeah, think about it. How when we have old clothes and then we pass to, like charity homes, they have no choice, right? They just take all our old clothes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and we don't think about it, right? Sometimes I wonder whether we think about the dignity of the people we give it to. And I feel that Chosen really brings the dignity back to the child.
Yep, and exactly.
I just love it. The first time I just registered, because our Chosen program is right now. So if you go to our website, you can actually you can actually take part in Chosen. But I took part in the previous one, and I remember I sent a couple of photographs because I told my colleague, I don't know if the child would choose me. What if they don't want my face? They don't like my face. So suddenly I know the feeling of what it's like. Yeah. I just registered for another one yesterday, and I'm looking forward to getting another child.
Yeah.
If
you're listening in today, so log into World Vision at www.worldvision.com.my and to find out more about the Day of the 1,000 Girls, to find out more about the work that they are doing in Tulid and Tatalaan, and also their other community projects.
And Chosen.
Yeah, and Chosen.
And Chosen. Yeah. Yes, and Chosen. Yes.
So it's not all just 30-hour famine, although it's probably the most famous, but it's not the only program. Okay. Yes. So talking about programs, World Vision has so many programs involving donors, sponsors, volunteers, schools, large corporations, and even churches. Yeah. And so what are the daily challenges of working in an NGO? Because that sounds like quite a handful of stakeholders that you need to look out for.
Like all businesses, we have all, the usual running of business of, challenges like, operation lah, website not working lah, all of that. And of course, because our primary business is fundraising, right? That's what we are tasked to do. So the money so we collect the money, and we've committed the money to different communities around the world in 14 countries. So if we don't have collect enough, then it impacts the communities that are that we're committed to. So I think so that besides the usual operational challenges like in all businesses, one of our biggest challenge currently because of the pandemic has been seeing lower acquisitions in terms of and then higher cancellations, because quite a few of our donors have come back to us, especially the last couple of years, saying that it's been tough, right? It's understandably so. And then recently with inflation, every dollar matters, I guess, to a lot of families. Yeah. So that's probably one of our greatest challenge, But having said that, I must say that we have very, very loyal supporters and donors. A large portion of our money income comes from pledges that come in every month. And many of them stay with us for 20 years, 25 years, and we are very grateful for that. So that's one thing. The other thing, of course, it's not necessarily on a daily, but just one of the challenges, we are also now navigating a different business landscape. So now with social media and digital and that world, virtual, I think the pandemic forced us to have to kind of really pivot there.
Yep.
And we're learning. So that's a learning process for us. And I think we've done well. We have a very committed team, and we'll have to just learn to do a lot more and do a lot better in that space.
Oh yeah.
So it's keeping up with the times, really. That's again a business. Every business has to do that, right?
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah.
keep up with the times.
And I noticed a fresher looking, newer website as well. I noticed that it's easier to navigate. Thank God, whoever that.
Thank you for telling me that.
Yeah.
We launched in March. We've had some hassles, but we are confident that it will just get better. But thank you for your affirmation.
Everything is a lot more laid out and a lot easier to navigate through now. And I think it's cleaner as well. I think, and we finally updated the logo as well.
Yes. Yeah. And you notice you can go into part in the website. If you're a child sponsor, there's a My Portal that you can go into. And you can see your child, you can send letters, and you can see photos, So that's the other good thing that a lot of our donors are saying, that they feel a better proximity to the child. Yeah.
Well, I've never tried going in from the website itself, but I usually use the link on the email to get to writing the birthday cards and all. Yeah, to the child and all.
And thank you so much for sponsoring the child, Winston. No problem.
It's my pleasure, really. I think it also helps me. I think it helps me to be more grounded and to know that no matter how difficult my life is, there are other people who are less fortunate than us. And I think, and I think, come on, it's like, for 65 ringgit every month, I think it's a small sacrifice. I think definitely.
Yeah. Sometimes you see that face on the fridge, right? You think so many of our problems are so first world, right?
Yeah.
When that child in the fridge, needs so much more.
Superficial compared to theirs,
Yes.
Very much.
Yes,
yeah.
True.
Okay.
Where's your child from, Winston?
Stong 2. Yeah, Stong 2.
Oh, Stong 2 is Cambodia.
Cambodia, yes.
Cambodia.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I've got 4. My husband's got 4 from Mongolia. I've got 2 from Myanmar. And I'm hoping to get 1 more now from Philippines. Yeah.
Wow, your badge of honor.
Oh yeah. And I always pick girls because I have 2 sons. I don't have daughters, so I pick girls.
Yep. I took a girl as well, and And well, I don't want to say her name on the air because I don't want to massacre her name until maybe when I go to Stong Tu eventually and I meet her, then maybe I might be able to find out the real pronunciation for the name. So
yes,
don't want to massacre any names at this moment.
Yep, sure.
Yep. So are your convictions to join World Vision back then? Are the convictions still rings true to you today?
That was quite a loaded question. I feel like I would not do justice to that question if I say I was convicted when I joined World Vision. I told you it was fairly kind of accidental, right?
Yeah.
And I think I would be embarrassed to even say that I was convicted at that point. Okay. But I do know that my journey with World Vision has changed. In fact, just today I was asked that question because I've been with the organization now 13 years in Malaysia. Right. What has changed for me? And they use a word called metanoia, I think like personal change. I think one thing that has changed is you understand need better. Because I have a lot more proximity to need, people with needs, right? So otherwise, I think my earlier understanding has always been very superficial. That somebody needs something, but now I think I understand that concept a lot more, and hopefully that softened my heart as well. I think I also understand money differently. Money is always something we earn for ourselves, for our family. Right. Very inward in that sense. I think I've learned over the many years that money is something you do for someone. Money is something that can bring value to someone, and that's the way. That's the best way. That's the only way you should treat money. Yeah. And I think I've also learned to measure success differently. Having worked with World Vision, so I'm not sure it's a conviction. I can't answer that question because I don't think it was a conviction. But because I've learned these lessons, I've grown to love what the organization represents. And I think that's what keeps me in the organization, that keeps me saying yes whenever, I'm asked, can you help with this? Because you fall in love with an organization and what it represents. And we're by no means perfect,
Yep.
But, when the core value and the culture and the ethos of an organization kind of resonates, with deep inside, then it makes me like kind of want to stay on, if I can and where I can, I don't consider myself doing a great deal. I mean, I think we all just do our very best, and but that's enough for me to stay with the organization, because it represents things that I believe in. Yeah, and it's changed me as well.
So the conviction developed from there. Not so much you had a conviction to start with. Yeah. So it grew.
Yeah. And I'm not even sure I would use the word conviction. I think now it's like a responsibility for me. I feel like because once you get to know an organization, you do something not as it doesn't have to be a conviction. It's more a responsibility. You're like, I know I've got this particular ability to make this change. I will do it. Because it's an organization I love. So in that sense, because I feel like conviction is too big a word to describe what I feel.
Okay.
Too noble for.
Too noble. Okay. Right. Okay. So Terry, tell us more about the One Goal Malaysia's Eat Right to Play Right program, because I think this one involves sports and nutrition, and it seems to be something that resonates more to our immediate urban and suburban communities. So maybe you want to shed some light on that?
Okay, so One Goal Malaysia. One Goal is actually a campaign that I think started maybe like 2016, where we wanted to teach children nutrition. Actually, I think the question started because several people, representatives of World Vision and AFCN, FAM at that time, why aren't we producing like world-class footballers, right? And that conversation started. And one of the things that came out was the fact that maybe we're just not eating the right food, right? Because you see the Germans being big, the Dutch being big, and then we were small. Even the Japanese are now bulky, and the Chinese as well, right? So that's kind of how the whole idea came. Kind of like that's the birth of it, and then we decided, we should advocate for nutrition and use football as a platform because everybody in Malaysia loves football. And in 2015, so that kind of started 2015, and then in late 2015, Zurich Foundation, through their insurance arm here, reached out to us, and they wanted to give us a grant for a program, and that's how then our campaign Eat Right to Play Right, our program Eat Right to Play Right started with them. So they gave us a grant for 6 years, and we basically took this concept of teaching nutrition through football to 9 states in Malaysia. We coach about 400 coaches. So the philosophy is the same. We find coaches from the community, and then we empower them. We coach and empower them, and then they run weekly training with their children. So they do football training as well as nutrition training. So we have a football kind of a manual and then a nutrition manual. So if you do a drill, for instance, you do a drill up and down, that drill might teach you about drinking water.
Right.
Or you do an exercise, and that exercise might lead to a lesson on carbohydrates, why you should take carbohydrates,
right.
or no sugar, and so whatever lah. So that's kind of like how we did it lah. So that's already 6 years. We've just ended the program, and we're moving on to the next phase of this program. So Zurich is we're no longer. That part of our program is finished. We finished the grant, but we will continue. World Vision will continue the Eat Right to Play Right campaign. This time with PPR, the low cost flats. And we're doing it with badminton instead.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah. So still teaching nutrition, but this time we're using badminton as kind of the core sport. One of the reasons we thought badminton was because during COVID we couldn't find fields, and so we thought we should do something that is closer to where the kids are. And every PPR has some kind of badminton court or something, right? So something they could do if ever like another COVID happens. And also because Malaysians love badminton too. And the other thing that's different from this is that we're going to talk about community gardens. We're going to involve and engage the community to do gardens and to do cookouts together with the children.
Nice.
So because it's the parents that feed the children, right? So so you need to not just influence the children, you also need to influence the parents lah. So with our learnings from Eat Right to Play Right football, we are very poised to and very excited about this next phase that we're going to be doing. So we're going to be launching, I think, in August, if I'm not mistaken, this program.
But great choice of sports. Football, badminton. I think these are very popular.
I know, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Everybody can play some form of football or badminton.
So your partner
and also
is
inexpensive, Winston.
especially badminton, and I think anybody with a racket, I think, can just like how when we grew up, we just play over the gate and all that sort of things. And I think a lot of this PPR would have these outdoor badminton courts that they can just go around. Parents hang out there and take the kids to the park, and they just play badminton across the fence or whatever it is. And I think it's excellent stuff. Nice.
That's right.
So PPR is your partner, is it? Or you're partnering with the individual respective PPR?
That means we go to them. If they are open for us to start a program there, then we work with them. I mean, it's a bit painful because you have to engage with every PPR. For now, it's like that. But like with Eat Right to Play Right football, we also found the initial a little bit painful because you have to engage, right? But the minute you get traction, like with Eat Right to Play Right football, with the football, once we got traction, before COVID, we had a lot of opportunities. Even school district offices invited us to go in, and we were running programs through schools in what you call it, not Miri, what is that, in Sarawak, in Serian, I think we were doing programs through schools there as well. Initially, it was quite tough to do it through school. I went to the Ministry of Education, and while they liked the idea, they just couldn't see how it could be implemented, and how they could make kind of like make the teachers want to do what we were doing. But once we grew and they knew about us, we found, that we had the momentum. So we are confident even with badminton. This start is always a slower start, and then we hope that other PPRs will take on. We'll see, the benefit of this, and then we want to work with them. But we're open to schools as well as to other communities, not just necessarily PPRs. That's just where we're starting in terms of urban. Because I don't know if you know that, but I think a couple of years ago, I think UNICEF, they did a survey, and many of our urban communities, including PPRs, were malnourished. They had malnutrition. So looking at the needs, we felt like that was a good place for us to start.
Right. Okay. So it's working with the Residents Association there, I suppose.
Yes.
Nice. All right. Yeah. Nothing, beats working with the community for the community. Yeah, I think that's always a good start.
Yes.
All right. I think this is probably one of our last questions, but I cannot ignore the elephant in the room now that the logo is right in front of me. World Vision Malaysia is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. So can you tell us about the organization's celebration plans and if there are anything new with the organization in the pipeline? Yeah.
Okay, so 25 years, unbelievable. And we are so grateful to God for carrying us through this 25 years. So grateful to our donors who have come alongside us and believed in us and entrusted us with money, for the children. We are extremely grateful for partners. When we started 25 years ago, I don't know if you know, but Sinchu Jitpo was one of our first partners. We started 30-hour famine with them.
Yep.
And they supported us for the initial years, and it's been and they continue to support us in other ways, but they're always present during our 30-hour famine. So we are very grateful for this last 25 years. So we are having a big celebration in September. There will be a celebration in conjunction with 30-hour famine, and our theme is Every You Counts. You can see that, right? Every You Count, because we acknowledge that everything, whether it's donor, volunteer, staff, partners, any person their lives have intersected with us, there has been an imprint, a significant imprint, and has contributed to what we're doing. So one of our campaigns is a pixel campaign, Every You Count pixel campaign. So just for 10 ringgit, if you donate 10 ringgit and you upload a picture, it doesn't have to be even your picture, can be your dog lah, your favorite, I don't know, coffee lah, anything lah,
Right.
And what we want to do is to collect all of this and then, have a pixel board show up of hopefully thousands and thousands of these pictures to kind of really bring home the point of every you counts, every little bit counts, 10 ringgit only, and every little you count. So you can actually go into our website and look for that one, and just donate. And if you're kind of like got groups of friends, do it together. It can be kind of fun.
Yep.
We have chosen, as I mentioned, so that's currently, in progress. We've just launched it. So we really encourage people to come and join us for that one and just feel the thrill of being part of somebody's life, know that you're chosen by a child and then to be part of his life, now that's quite a privilege. Oh, yeah. And then of course, 30-hour family will be coming up. The last 2 years, the original, have you been to any of our 30-hour family events?
Have I? I volunteered and I did the social media. I think for 1 year I did the social media.
Yes, that's right. So you've experienced that 13,000 in the stadium. That's how we've always done 30-hour family. 30-hour family is young people, many of them very young, contributing a minimum, I think, of 30 ringgit, and they get to be part of this 30-hour family movement. Or we have what we call camp leaders, DIY camp leaders, leaders who can congregate a bunch of young people, and then we go walk through a training on on advocacy, about
Right.
poverty, and
Mm.
so we have that as well. So, and then on the final day, everybody fasts for the last 30 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and then it culminates in a huge celebration in the stadium, Malawati here, like 14,000 people, like a rock concert,
Oh
very
yes, it
fun.
pretty much is actually. Yeah.
Yes,
I went for 2
yes,
years.
it is.
Rachel Liang one
Yeah.
and the jam one.
Jam one, right?
That
Yeah,
was
yeah. I
crazy.
know,
Oh my goodness.
right? The jam one especially was such a wow, because she was such a star, right?
She got a fan club and all that as well.
Yes, that's right. So so we've done that for the last many years, and then COVID came, and then suddenly cannot do. So we converted to virtual, but different. Doesn't have the effect that we had online. So this year we're going back to together. So we've just identified a place here in KL, in town. The city will make the announcement soon, and there'll be a major celebration as well. And I think it'll be great. So if you've got if you're a bunch of young people, you can come and join us. If not, you can just give and just be part of that celebration. This year, our ambassador is a Cantonese film star called Pak Ho Chow.
Yeah, Pak Ho Chow. I
have no idea. I hear he's really big. His dramas are very good, but I don't watch Cantonese dramas, so I don't know. I know he's very handsome, that I know.
Yeah.
He's very good looking.
Yeah. So you're trying to tell me that the 30-hour famine is basically the where the 25th anniversary is going to basically climax there.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Nice.
It's going to be that celebration. Yes.
Excellent.
So it's going to be it's going to be big, I think.
All right, guys. So you're listening to this, sign up for the 30-hour famine, yeah?
Yeah.
So, wow. Yeah, and just like you mentioned that Sinju actually was the supporter of World Vision when you guys started out and all right? And that's the reason why, 30-hour family generally have a more Chinese speaking base and all that, right? I think, I think that was a story that I heard previously.
Yes. But interestingly, even though it's more Chinese, in fact, mostly Chinese speaking, right? So a lot of the stars are singing Chinese, but we also have people from different races, there are Malay friends and Indian friends who are part of it. Fascinates me too. This is so Malaysian, I think we're just so Malaysian.
Exactly.
I mean, apart from all the politics that we hear and read, and but actually, I think down on the ground, many of us are still very integrated and we're still friends.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we will dab in each other's culture. We will eat each other's food, and of course, hang out with each other's celebrity and aware of what's going on and all. And I think that's excellent.
Yes.
Okay, Terry, before we conclude, is there one thing you want to tell our listeners today? It can be a promotional message, no problem. It's a busy year for you.
Yeah, it is. But I guess maybe just from my experience, I've learned over these years with World Vision that, and this is not about World, and I'm not asking people to give to World Vision right now, right? This is just saying a lesson that I've learned is that giving is a very intentional act. It's not natural, right? Because I think we're just human beings are generally selfish, right? We work hard, we make money for ourselves, we fight for ourselves. And I just want to encourage listeners to be intentional about giving, because we live in a shared world. We share this world with so many different types of people. A little bit of contribution on our side, makes a difference. It doesn't have to be with World Vision anywhere, but it can make a difference in somebody else's life, And I just want to encourage people to be intentional in that, because even if it's not the most natural, and if you've got kids, be intentional in starting your children young, to give as well. Because I think if we all kind of develop that, we can all make a bigger difference. I just signed up for Chosen. This time I didn't put my husband and my picture. I put me and my goddaughter, 9-year-old goddaughter, and she doesn't know it yet, but I want to tell her that she can make a difference even at 9 years old. I want to engage her with this other child who hopefully picks us, and tell her that even at a very young age she can start giving and she can make a difference. So I guess World Vision's logo is this. It's our vision for every child, life in all its fullness. But our prayer for every heart is the will to make it so. So we pray for our listeners that they will have the will to make a difference in a child's life. And I guess that's what I wanted to say.
Wow,
Thank you
so
so much,
powerful.
Winston.
Yeah, wow. There's really nothing else to say. I think we have to conclude it here already. I mean, that last sentence you say basically sums, everything that, probably what World Vision stands for. In fact, not probably, definitely what World Vision stands for, right? Thank you so much for your time, Terry. Thank you for going through this with me. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you so much for inviting me. It was my pleasure.